My name is Christy Cochran, and I'll be your dietitian today. What do you like to go by?
You can call me Michelle.
Michelle? Hi, Michelle. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Did you find your way okay here today?
I did.
Good.
I did, yeah.
Good, glad to hear it. So, Thanksgiving is coming up. Do you have any good plans for Thanksgiving?
Well, the governor's kind of
Yeah.
shut us down a little bit, hadn't he?
I know.
But my brother's coming from
Oh, good.
Georgia, so I'm excited to see him.
Good, I'm glad you get to still see some of your family.
Yeah, that'll be good to have him in town.
Awesome. Well, good. So, what brings you in today?
Well, I'm approaching that, year 50, and my cholesterol has been high. I have a family history of high cholesterol.
Okay.
And I'm a little concerned about my body mass index, and it seems like, I do exercise. I try to exercise 2 to 3 times a week for maybe 45 minutes, but I'm just having a hard time. My cholesterol had been like 240, and I got it down to like around 200, and then it went down to 179, and now it's back just slightly over 200.
Okay.
And I just want to know what else can I do, because I really don't want to take medicine.
Yeah.
I want to avoid the medicine if I can.
Okay.
And so it just seems really hard to lose weight. So
Yeah.
I can in spurts, and then it's like my body doesn't want to lose more, and then I'll gain a couple, and then I try to go back and start again.
Okay.
So I'll just see what you can do to help me.
Yes, for sure. Well, the good news is about all that is that there is a lot we can do through diet and exercise to, help those numbers come down a little bit and get them in that better range. So we definitely want to avoid going on medication if possible, which it sounds like it's kind of what you want to do.
I'm pretty motivated to not have to go on medicine for it if I can.
Okay, well that's great. So the main purpose of today's meeting is just an assessment. So I just want to go through what you've given to me. I just want to make sure I understand everything and where you're at. We'll go through your 24-hour recall, and then I can talk to you a little bit about cholesterol and maybe give you some information on that, and then maybe we can set some goals to kind of work on, and then we'll schedule a follow-up meeting for later,
Okay.
where we can just go through and see how everything is working for you. Okay.
Sounds good.
So let's see. I just want to go through some of the things you wrote on here. So you mentioned that you had some concerns about your weight or your body mass index.
Yeah, my doctor told me I need to try to get down to about 140, and I had been 155, and now I'm down to 149.
Okay.
And then it just seems harder to lose weight now that I'm getting older.
Yeah. Well, your metabolism generally slows down a little bit, so it can be more challenging. But you're not far away from your goal. You're at 148.4 right now, so that puts you at a BMI of 26.3. So that's just a little bit overweight. It's not anything too alarming, but yeah, I think we can work towards just even losing that 8 or 9 pounds. I think that's definitely achievable. So.
And what should the BMI be?
Yeah. So the normal range for a BMI is anywhere from 18 to 25.
Okay.
So you're just a little bit over that 25. You're at the 26.3. So that's not too far over. But yeah, I think we can definitely get down to a little below that 25.
And just for curiosity, what would obese be for a BMI?
Sure. Yeah, obese is 30 and above.
Okay.
And then there's different classifications for obese.
Okay, so I'm not there.
No, you're not there. You're not.
Good.
You're just in the slightly overweight range.
Okay.
So I'm not too concerned. Definitely some weight loss will help with that cholesterol control, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. So if you can do that, that will definitely help with the cholesterol and fat levels. But overall, your weight is not too concerning. You're doing pretty well. Okay, so I got those cholesterol levels from your doctor, and so whenever you go through that, we can look at that and see where you are in the ranges. Okay. So you also have osteopenia.
I do. I just had a bone density scan a couple weeks ago, and I guess they scanned my hip, and like one side has gotten a little bit better and the other side's gotten a little worse.
Okay.
So they told me, exercise, like do weight bearing exercise. So I have some 1 pound weights when I walk. I'm gonna take with me.
Oh, good.
And I'm gonna try to be good about that. I don't want it to go into osteoporosis.
Yeah, for sure. So is that what these medications are for?
Yes, I'm taking 2 of these a day, and that's what I've been doing, but since the scan didn't turn back as good as I wanted, they told me I could have up to, I think it was 1,500 milligrams.
Okay.
And I've been taking 1,200 and figuring I'm probably getting the rest from food. But if I go ahead and take, like I figured these would be easier to cut in half. It's pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
But if I take like a half of one of these, with 2 of those, that would get me to the 1,500.
Okay.
But then if I drink milk, in the morning and
Mhm.
eat cheese and stuff and get calcium that way.
Mhm.
Should I be worried about getting too much?
Yeah, so I was going to, yeah, we can definitely talk about that. So I have here, actually, let me go ahead and give this packet to you. We can go to the education in a minute, but on this last page, I just have a blank page where you can write down any goals or notes, so this might be
Okay.
helpful, so I'll give
Oh,
this
thank
pen
you.
here. But I have the RDAs and the upper limits for each of those. You're concerned about zinc, copper, and manganese?
Yeah, because I
Okay.
usually eat cereal, in the
Mhm.
morning, and it already has a bunch of those, I guess metals or whatever in them, and, I don't know, I know some of those you can get too much of, and that was one thing I was concerned about.
Okay, so we'll start with zinc. It looks like you're taking 2 of these, and the serving size is one tablet. This is what the doctor prescribed.
Yes, they told
Okay.
me I was trying to get up to that 1,500 milligrams of calcium.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So the upper limit, so the way RDAs work is you have this general number that you're trying to reach, which is your RDA. So that would be 11 milligrams of zinc a day. And then we have another number called the upper limit. And this is what we really, this is what the research has shown. If you go at that upper limit or above, that's when you're at a dangerous level.
Okay.
So the upper limit for zinc is 40 milligrams.
Okay.
And I don't think, looking at the numbers here, you're not in huge danger of reaching that 40 milligrams.
Okay.
Even if you have some cereal or some other foods that have fortified zinc in them, I don't think you're going to reach that on a regular basis. So you look good with zinc. Let's look at copper, 1 milligram. The upper limit for copper is 10 milligrams a day, and it doesn't look like you're going to get anywhere close. This has 1, so you'd be getting 2 from the supplement.
Oh, okay. And then
This is 0.25.
Okay.
So I'm not too worried about copper. And then let's look at manganese. The upper limit for manganese is 11 milligrams. And you're getting, a little less than 4 from 2 of these, and less than half of 1.8 from that. So I'm not too worried about that either. So it looks like you're probably I'm not too worried about you getting any toxicity from any of these supplements here.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah. Even with those fortified cereals. So good. I'm glad that you're taking these. That calcium from this will certainly help with the bone density, and it looks like your doctor knows what he's doing. So this is good. Any concerns with this?
I'm taking this for arthritis. I'm
Okay.
starting to get some arthritis, and it has helped. I've noticed a big difference since
good.
I started taking it. But I just, I look at this, I don't know what these things are. And I know the glucosamine and the chondroitin, and I know the part that helps, but the other things in there, I don't really know what they are. But I'm just it says 3 tablets a day, and that's all I'm doing, just
Okay.
in the mornings.
Okay. Well, this should be good. I don't think this is going to have any interactions with anything else that would be negative. So.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this looks good. Yeah. Just keep up this regimen, and hopefully that will help with that.
Okay.
Okay. And you also had another concern here about feeling shaky when you don't eat.
Yeah, it seems like if I miss a meal, I'll start, and I know I had gestational diabetes with all of my pregnancies. So if I miss a meal, it takes me back to when I would have blood sugar issues, like when I was pregnant.
Okay.
And it's like I just feel like I start shaking and I can't think straight, and then I eat something, a piece of candy or something, or drink some juice or something, and that helps me feel better. But I'm just wondering if there's a name for that that has to do with regulating blood sugar, or like I hate to just eat sugar throughout the day to keep myself feeling good or whatever. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, definitely. So what you're describing to me, and I looked a little bit into this before our meeting, it really sounds just like we would just call it hypoglycemia. And all that means is just that you're having low blood sugar. And there can be a number of causes for that. And the main thing that causes hypoglycemia is just there being too much insulin produced in your body. So your pancreas is just producing a lot of that insulin, which is that hormone that breaks down that sugar in your blood. And so if you don't have enough sugar, we have too much insulin and it breaks down more of your sugar, and that can lead to that shaky feeling and the confusion and the fatigue and stuff. And so we can talk a little bit as we set some goals later. We can talk a little bit about what you can eat, especially with carbohydrates, like regulating those carbohydrates throughout the day to kind of keep your blood sugar steady. But like what you mentioned is if you carry like a banana or you have some juice or something, that should be able to temporarily solve that issue, at least in the moment.
I try not to miss meals, but sometimes life happens
that's normal. Yeah. And since you do have that history of gestational diabetes, that's not terribly surprised by that. If you've had gestational diabetes, you are at risk of having blood sugar issues later in life.
Most people that get it apparently get it later. I get it like right away. I get it like as soon as I find out I'm pregnant, they'll go, they learn to go test me for it, and it's like, anyway, not planning on being pregnant.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm just thinking about the blood sugar issues, though. I'm wondering, why does my body do that, and respond this way? But anything you can think of that would help me
for sure
control it.
Yeah, no, we will talk about that too. I'm making some notes here of things.
Okay.
And it's going to be very similar to probably what they told you when you had gestational diabetes, of having those kind of regular carbohydrate servings throughout the day. And then actually what's nice is that as we talk about cholesterol, some of the hints that I'll give you for cholesterol actually plays nicely into this. You'll do some of the same things that will help with both. So I just want to make sure I go through all of this. Okay, so you mentioned that you kind of had some struggles with the weight loss here, maybe able to lose about 7 pounds, and then it kind of stalls and you can't really go any further.
Mm-hmm. It's like I can still be good, and it's like my body's saying, no more.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that's just something you have to push through, or if maybe I'm doing it too much, and I need to wait a week and then try again, or.
Yeah. A lot of people there's a lot of different ways to approach weight loss. So generally what's happening here when you hit that plateau is you have your body's metabolism, which is how much energy that you are burning. And so when you go on like a South Beach diet, like you mentioned, or Weight Watchers, and you're kind of restricting, cutting back your calories, then your metabolism will kind of catch up to the amount of calories you're eating, and it'll slow down. And so you're not going to be burning as many calories, and you probably do notice that you feel like kind of tired and fatigued.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's kind of, your body is like kind of going in a little bit of a freak out mode of like, oh, I'm not getting as much food, I need to conserve as much energy as possible, and it'll kind of slow you down, make you feel tired. And then you won't be burning as many calories, so that's why you get that plateau of not losing more. So the way that I personally like to approach weight loss, especially since you're noticing this issue, is very slowly and very gradually. So these diets are kind of drastic. That South Beach, you're cutting out a lot of carbohydrates. You're going on a pretty restrictive diet at the beginning. So what I would recommend is, and we can talk about this too when we're setting our specific goals, but what I would recommend is just making smaller changes, and not, especially with calories, like not cutting your calories drastically or your carbohydrates drastically, especially since you're having some of those blood sugar issues.
Like how many calories should I be eating in a day?
Yeah, we should calculate that and talk about that. For most women, and I can calculate that based off of your body weight.
Okay.
And that's good. If you cut your calories by about 500, then that's a pound a week. 500 calories a day, then that's about a pound a week.
Oh, okay. 500 calories a day.
But even that you just have to see how you react to that, because even that might be too much. I might just cut your calories by about 250, and then that's a half pound a week. but that might be more sustainable. That might be easier, and it might not have such a drastic effect on your metabolism. Okay. So yes, we can talk about calories too. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do is go through your 24-hour recall.
Okay.
So I saw here that this was not a typical day of eating for you.
No, it was
Okay.
not.
Is there a particular reason for that?
Well, I had just come off of a fast with my church.
Okay.
We've been doing a 3-day fast, and I had just, because I can't skip meals, I had been skipping lunch. I ate like a small fruit bowl size of cereal for breakfast, and then I had like a normal dinner.
Okay.
And that was enough for me. But coming off of that, we were more tired, and so I just cooked something that everybody could eat, and then we just kind of ate off of that the next day.
Gotcha. So yeah, I can understand why this wouldn't be a typical day, but maybe we can talk about like what would be different normally.
Yeah, usually I'm gonna have a lot more. Like, I don't think I had any fruit. Usually I will have fruit, and then I will have probably 1 or 2 servings. 2 would be more typical servings of fruit, and then usually I would have a salad or more veggies in there somewhere. I was just tired and didn't.
It's okay. No, that's everybody has days like this. It's totally fine.
And I don't drink coffee every day. I have it because I don't like the caffeine headaches. I have it maybe every other day or something like that. But I do not want to get hooked on it where I have to have it.
Okay. Do you generally eat a breakfast around 9:30 a.m.?
Usually about 8:30.
8:30. Okay. And then what typical foods would you eat for breakfast? I know you mentioned cereal.
Yeah, usually cereal, and then I skim milk with it.
Skim milk, okay.
And I have about a cup of cereal, and then maybe 3/4 cup of milk or something. I don't eat a lot of it.
Okay.
And that'll usually get me through to lunchtime.
Okay. And so around lunchtime, is that around noon when you would eat that?
Yeah, usually around noon.
Okay, so I noticed here that this was like oatmeal squares, so you were talking about just cooking things that everybody enjoys on this day.
Yes, so that I actually made that with, that's why it was a little bit of a later breakfast. Oatmeal and brown sugar, and then there was pears and apples in it, and I just bake it in the oven.
Okay, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's pretty yummy.
But that wouldn't be like a typical lunch for you?
No, I don't usually, I like oatmeal, but I need to make the time to make regular oatmeal, but this is a treat.
Okay. So what would a normal lunch look like for you then?
Sometimes we'll just do a salad and try to put, the little mini peppers and tomatoes and cucumbers and maybe some kind of protein, chicken or something on it.
Okay.
And then I always use a low-fat salad dressing. So some days I'll have a salad. Some days I'll make a sandwich with like ham and cheese.
Okay.
Sandwich, or some days I'll just do peanut butter and apple or something. And then I'll usually have like a strawberry, grape, and blueberry mix together.
Fruit.
So I'll have some of that, and sometimes I'll have that for lunch. Sometimes I'll have it in the afternoon and put some Greek yogurt, like I think a Greek yogurt
that sounds
on
good.
it. It's more of that calcium in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I've been adding in like a snack in the afternoon, like a little handful of nuts, just like a little 1/4 cup, or just a little handful.
Okay. What kind of nuts do you like?
I like the pecans, and then or peanuts. I'll do one of those.
Okay. Awesome. Those nuts are great. I'm really glad that you're snacking on those. That's a great choice. And then for your evening meal, what does that typically look like for you?
Usually we'll do, I'll have some kind of lean meat. I pretty much cut out beef. I don't eat.
So this isn't typical?
That's maybe, 4 times a year or something that I'll eat beef. Just because of my cholesterol. So I usually cook lean turkey meat or chicken. So we'll have something on that. I don't do a lot of pasta, even though I love it, but I'll stick to And I don't always have brown rice, but if I need a grain, I'll put brown rice or something with it. So I cook a lot of soups, usually heavy on the vegetables, and then there'll be some meat in there.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll do a salad for dinner. I don't usually do salad for lunch and dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a homemade bread maker.
Ooh.
Sometimes I get that out.
That sounds delicious. I bet your family loves that.
They do. They do. Yeah, you know those boys. They know how to eat it up.
So you have sons that live at home with you?
I have one.
One son. Okay.
Yeah, he's 17.
Oh
so,
wow!
Yeah,
You're entering that empty nest phase.
I sure am.
Oh.
Yep. I'm gonna
That's
cry when
exciting.
he leaves.
Yeah. It'll be kind of fun too to have some more space.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna
I'm
be.
sure.
Yeah, I homeschool my kids,
Oh,
so it's
okay.
gonna be
So you always had
strange.
them at home with you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. So when he's gone, I don't know what I'll do. I'll have to go
Aw.
teach somebody else's kids, I guess.
There you go. Well, I saw that you're a math teacher, so
Yes.
you enjoy teaching.
I do. I teach
Good.
at a homeschool co-op,
Oh,
and
good.
I do enjoy that. Yeah, it gives me something to do.
Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, well, I think I went through about everything on here. We went through your 24-hour recall. Okay, so the next thing is I just want to talk a little bit about cholesterol. So I just kind of want to gauge, maybe we can turn this over and look
Sure.
at the first page.
Okay.
So what all do you know? Like, what all has your doctor told you about cholesterol, or what all do you know about it?
I know it comes from like animal fat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one reason I'm trying to stay away from beef. I don't really know what other foods it's in. And I know it can clog arteries, or at least that's my conceptual thing is that
Yeah.
it can clog arteries, and I know my parents have always kind of struggled with it, and my grandparents, so it's hereditary
Okay.
for us, and they've warned me you gotta be, on your guard to watch out for this. And
Yeah. So that's one big thing that we're learning about high cholesterol now is that there's a huge genetic piece to it. So even if you're doing everything right, even if you have that genetic piece, sometimes that can just cause high cholesterol. So it's not your fault. It's not necessarily something you're doing wrong. It can be genetics, and it sounds like it is for you. But that doesn't mean there's not things we can do to help, for sure. So yeah, you were spot on. It is in animal food, so in animal fat. So foods high in it would be poultry, red meat, eggs, dairy, just animal foods all have some cholesterol in it, and you won't find any cholesterol in plant foods. And then you were right about the artery thing. So do you know about the different kinds of cholesterol? Has anybody talked to you about that?
I know there's an HDL and an LDL, but I get them mixed up. I always forget which one's which.
Well, I always got them mixed up too until one of my classmates in school told me HDL is the happy one.
Oh, okay. So that's
H
the one
means
you want
happy.
more of?
So yeah, HDL is the happy one, and the LDL is the loser.
Oh, okay.
That's how I remember it now. So
Okay.
H is for happy, L is for loser. So the HDL, yes, is your good cholesterol, and it kind of acts like a janitor in your bloodstream. So it goes through and it picks up all the bad fats or it helps to pick up and clean up the bad fats in your bloodstream, and it just takes away all that trash. And so that's why we kind of want to keep those HDL levels higher, is because it really fights against buildup of plaque in your bloodstream. So that's the goal with that. And then the LDL is considered the bad cholesterol because it contributes to that plaque buildup, and it can contribute to that higher fat in the bloodstream. And so, this can help you remember which one's which. So if we turn over to our next sheet, this is a helpful table right here, just so you can gauge what the levels are. So all three of yours, so we looked at your HDL, your LDL, and your total cholesterol. All three of them are in this borderline, high or low range. So you're in this yellow range for all of them, which isn't a terrible place to be. And there's small changes we can do to help get you over in the green. And you're not terribly far over. Like you're somewhere in the middle or just barely over in that range. So yeah, this just gives you information of keeping your LDL. Try to aim above 50, and your LDL try to aim below 130.
Okay.
And then here are different risk factors, overweight or obesity. So we're going to talk a little bit about weight loss, especially since that's something that you're wanting to aim for. And you don't. I noticed on here you don't smoke.
I don't smoke.
Okay.
I think it's disgusting.
Good.
So-
Okay. And then it sounds like you're doing some physical activity too, so we'll talk about that, which is good. And then you mentioned, just as you get older, it generally gets harder to control. So that's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is our helpful page where I think we can start looking at what we can do with the diet and goals that we can set.
Okay.
So foods to eat. We talk a lot about eating healthy fats. That helps you get that HDL level up, which will help you get your LDL level down. So what do you cook with normally? Do you cook with like oil or butter? Like what is your...
Well, a lot of times canola oil or olive oil.
Okay.
Sometimes I've quit using margarine.
Mhm.
Sometimes I will use a little bit of butter, but usually I'll use like an olive oil.
Oh, perfect.
Something.
Well, then you're spot on for that because we're going to go for that olive oil. It has those healthy fats in it.
Okay.
Other great foods are fish. Now, I noticed you wrote on here not a huge fan
I'm
of
not a
fish.
big fish
That's
fan.
okay.
Maybe I need to change that.
No. You don't have to eat fish to get those healthy fats in. That's just one great source of it. Have you ever tried fish oil before?
I have taken the little capsules,
Okay.
and I stopped when I had to start taking all of these, but I
Gotcha.
probably should add them. I
It's
don't
a
mind adding them
lot
back in.
A lot of pills to take.
It is. It's a lot to swallow in the morning.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, that might be one good thing you could think about doing is adding that. Did you like the supplement that you were taking, the fish oil supplement?
I did. I think it was Sundown.
Oh,
Labs
Sundown,
or
okay.
Something that made it, but yeah, it was. I could swallow it quick and then I didn't have to taste it,
Yes, exactly. That's why I mentioned that because the fish isn't the favorite thing.
Yeah, I need to add that back in, see if that'll help.
Awesome. Okay. And then other foods would be like olives, different nuts, and avocado are other great sources of those healthy fats. And if you look at packaged foods, if you look for foods that are higher in the monounsaturated or polyunsaturated fats, those are your healthy fats.
Oh, okay.
And then like the saturated and the trans fats, those are the unhealthy ones. Those are the ones that'll increase the LDL levels.
Okay.
And then omega-3, I don't know if you've heard of omega-3 fatty acids. People talk about that a lot. It's a new and
I
upcoming
see it
thing.
on like cereal boxes,
Cereal
but I
boxes,
don't
yeah.
know what it means. I just
Yeah.
know that people speak positively of it.
Yes, absolutely. It's another one of those really healthy fats and that you find a lot in the fish, and then different nuts and seeds like chia seeds or different seeds will be really high in those omega-3 fatty acids. And just again, those are really healthy for your body and help to control those fat levels and get them where you want them to be. So I know you mentioned snacking on nuts in the afternoon, which is great. You should definitely keep that up. I would suggest maybe switching from peanuts, if that's a common thing, to a different nut. So what are other nuts that you enjoy?
Well, I like the macadamias, but they're expensive,
Yeah.
know, and they, I'm trying to think.
Sure,
I would like walnuts.
walnuts.
Or,
Those are great. That's a great choice. Yeah. Walnuts. Do you like almonds at all?
I do.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I have some at home. That's not the thing I grab.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
I probably could. I don't dislike them.
Uh-huh.
I probably could.
Yeah.
Do them more.
Well, those are two great choices right
So
off.
almonds and
And walnuts are a great choice. They're high in
walnuts. Okay.
those good fats.
What about pistachios? Are they
Pistachios are pretty good too.
okay?
Yeah, but I know almonds, particularly almonds and walnuts, have a high level of those
Of
those
the
good fats, the omega-3 fatty acids. Yeah.
Okay.
I would have to look at pistachios to see what they're at on that.
Okay.
Okay, so that's good. So if you can aim to get some more of those foods in, and I like that you want to make that a goal for the fish oil
Yeah.
and those nuts, the walnuts or almonds.
Yeah.
Okay. On that page there.
What about pecans?
Pecans are good too.
They're good too.
Yeah. So any of those.
Okay.
Awesome. The second thing I want to talk about, and this will play into the blood sugar regulation as well, is fiber. So do you have a good idea of what foods are generally high in fiber? I mean, you can also see it right there.
Grains, like the whole grains.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing that comes to mind, and then I guess probably the brown rice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Apples.
Yes, apples are a great source. Yeah, so your fruits, vegetables, and your whole grains are spot on with that. Are definitely higher in fiber. So look for those, whole wheat or whole grain versus the white. Which it sounds like you eat that brown rice, which is fantastic. So as much of that as you can fit in your diet, and it sounds like you're doing a good job with, you have the fruit and then those salads, and then you're also eating those cereals for breakfast, and brown rice for dinner. So it sounds like you're getting a good level of that in your diet. Beans are also another great source. One thing I was thinking about, which could possibly help, is there's Metamucil is like a fiber supplement. Have you heard of that before?
I have.
Okay. Have you ever tried it?
One time, and I didn't get the flavored kind.
Oh.
And I couldn't drink it.
Gotcha.
I just couldn't. It's like, this is disgusting. But
yeah.
If I tried the flavored kind, maybe that.
Yeah, there's an orange flavor, which I do sometimes.
What do you,
I
you
love
put it in? Orange flavor. What do you put it in?
I just put it in water, and I use it to help me go to the bathroom. So I use a full tablespoon at once. You might try, since you're not having constipation issues, you might try a little bit less than that, maybe 1 or 2 teaspoons at the beginning, and just see how that feels with you.
Okay.
And then you just get a glass of water, and then you mix it up real well, and you can drink that.
Okay.
And you could, whatever time of day works for you, whether you want to do it with breakfast or like as a snack in the afternoon. And the theory behind that fiber supplement is for your cholesterol. What fiber does is it helps to pull, so your liver produces bile, which is what you use to digest fat, and that the liver uses cholesterol to make that bile, and so the fiber helps to pull that bile out of the body. It just grabs onto it and pulls it out, so that it forces your body to use more cholesterol to make that bile.
Okay.
And so the more fiber you eat, the more you're creating more need for that cholesterol, and so your body's just lowering it because it's using more.
Okay.
So it's great for helping to reduce cholesterol, but it's also good for regulating blood sugar. So having that fiber, it will help to keep your blood sugar from like spiking, going up and down, and it could help to prevent those big falls that you have. And you can just experiment with it and see how it feels with you. But even if it doesn't help with the blood sugar, I know it'll at least help with that cholesterol.
Okay.
So, you've made that a third goal on there already, I saw. So
yeah,
the
I'd be
Metamucil.
willing to do that.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's something easy you can do. And just keep up that dietary fiber you're already getting. That's great. And then I think you have a generally good idea of foods to, and you're already really doing a good job of that in your diet.
Avoid eggs?
Eggs are high in cholesterol. They're pretty high in cholesterol, actually. Which there is more research coming out saying that it doesn't matter as much how much cholesterol you eat in your diet of straight cholesterol. So that's kind of a newer discovery. But the fat in this food does contribute to, not great fat levels. So that's true for all of these that you see here. So anyway.
What about skim milk? Is that, would it be better to do the, one of the milk alternatives rather than?
I would say you are taking these supplements, which is helping you get your calcium. Those milk alternatives are fortified generally. You can look for the ones and make sure they're fortified in calcium, so you'll still be getting that calcium, but you won't be getting any cholesterol if you do a milk alternative.
Oh, so maybe I should think about almond milk or something?
If you enjoy it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Now how much, so you said you have some with your cereal in the morning?
I have some with cereal in
Okay.
the morning, and that's probably, I cook with it. I put in things to cook with it a little bit, but most of it would be with my cereal, I guess.
Yeah, so if you wanted to make that switch, that would help to lower a source of that cholesterol.
Okay, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, that could be a possibility.
I do love cheese too. Like I'll put
It's hard to
put a little on the salad or have it.
Mhm.
My husband loves it in, whatever meat dish I'm fixing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, are there some cheeses that are better than others to use, or?
Yeah, generally the leaner cheeses like mozzarella would be a better choice than cheddar.
Okay.
And you can even look for low-fat cheese. I know they make low-fat cheese. So you can just try it and see if you like it. And a little bit of these, it's not like you completely have to cut these foods out. It's just not going to, try not to make them the main source of your diet, which you don't. Like, I honestly feel like your diet overall, from what you told me of that 24-hour recall, looks pretty good. But these are just good things to keep in mind of, any way you can to cut that more out.
So does that mean chicken?
Yeah, so all meat.
All meat. Okay.
All meat is a source of cholesterol.
Okay.
Which again, there is kind of conflicting research and new research coming out that's saying eating cholesterol doesn't necessarily contribute to higher cholesterol levels. I think it's more the fat content of that food that might contribute to that. And honestly, weight plays a big part into it too. So these will generally cause weight gain. And
I just need to get the weight off. It's been since my last child was born, so I need to get it off.
Gosh, yeah. Well, yeah, let's talk about that now. So I think that this looks pretty good. So maybe the last two things we could talk about and make some goals with would be exercise, and then we can look at some things for the weight loss.
Okay.
And we should talk a little bit about the blood sugar as well. So why don't we start with exercise? So tell me generally, like on a typical week, how much you would exercise.
Okay. Well, I try to exercise 2 or 3 times a week. I like to go for 3. I have they're called walk-to-walk videos on YouTube that I watch.
Okay.
And the lady's pretty energetic with, it's not just walking, but it's kicking and it's, putting your heels back and moving your arms all different ways. And
so it's getting your heart rate up.
Oh yeah, it gets my heart rate
up.
And I try to do about 3 miles of that. It takes about 45 minutes.
Okay.
And then she does some stretching at the end. So I try to, I don't want to lose what I have, so, so I like doing that. And then sometimes I'll go walk around the neighborhood, or before COVID, I would go walk around the mall. And just, and I would make sure my heart rate was getting up. But I would do that for, maybe 45 minutes or so and then after 45 minutes, my hip used to really start hurting. And not sure really what that was about, but anyway, I do think that's better.
Oh, good.
But sometimes like in my lower back or my hip, and that's where I think getting that weight off
would help. Yeah, and it could be related to some of those bone issues too, especially since you mentioned your hip. So low impact will be better since you mentioned having some pains. So no having to go jump around or anything. But no, it sounds like these exercises you're doing are great. Those walk-to-walk videos, getting your heart rate up, but you have some resistance doing, different movements with your legs and arms, which is good. Resistance exercise is good to think about, as well as aerobic. And the walking is good. Now, it might get hard as the weather gets colder to do that outside.
We have a treadmill.
You have a treadmill. Oh, great. Okay.
Whatever reason I don't do that as much, but we have one, so.
Okay.
That'll help if I can't get outside.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's see. So I think this is good. The only encouragement I would have is just the more you can do, the better. So I love that you already have exercises that you enjoy. So would you say total you exercise 2 to 3 times per week? Yeah, maybe you could just aim to add on one more day or something, just 3 to 4 times. And anything you can do to add to the exercise is going to be helpful for both the weight loss and the cholesterol. But you can take charge of that and what you feel like you can do. And we can revisit that at our next meeting and just see how you feel. So do you want to set a particular goal with that, or do you feel like you're good with how you're doing?
Well, I think right now once I get to January, then I might increase it to,
Okay.
3 to 4, but I think right now 2 to 3
It's about
might
what you
be
can
all
handle.
I can handle to get
Okay.
me through the Christmas season.
Gotcha, makes sense. Okay, so we can kind of put that one on hold maybe until January.
Yeah, in January I really do want to increase.
Okay.
I should have more time in January too.
Yeah, it seems to be the time of year to get on the exercise train, so okay. Okay, well good. I think what you're doing is already good, and then we can revisit that in January.
Okay.
Okay, and so maybe honestly a lot of this is similar to weight loss advice. So I think what we were talking about earlier with the weight loss of kind of staying away from that crash dieting or like cutting out too much at once, because it sounds like it's kind of a shock to your body, and then it slows down your metabolism a little bit. So I just think that small changes, cutting out now it's going to be hard at the holidays, and honestly I'm not scared about your weight where you are, so it's okay to enjoy the holidays. I don't want you to make yourself miserable and not enjoy the holidays. But any way you can to just cut out those little treats that you might have throughout the day, or even just to reduce some of the higher calorie things, just a little, make it those small changes. And like when you have the nuts, definitely eat the nuts, but like, a small handful will be good. Do you have any ideas of things you could do to maybe just cut calories a little bit, or how do you feel about your diet and weight loss where you're at right now?
Well, I think I just need to think more consistently about it. Like, it's easy especially when I'm busy, like at the holidays, when I'm trying to run in here and there and pull things together. It's so easy just to plop something in my mouth that I know I shouldn't be eating,
Yeah, that's everybody. That's a normal way to be. So, one thing, just that little shift in mindset of thinking, right now I'm taking care of my body. And, one thing that's important to note is sometimes we get in that mindset of, oh, I need to lose weight. It almost can get fixated on, I'm depriving myself, I'm not eating what I want to eat. And then that can kind of get you in a bad place, and where you feel more deprived than maybe you even actually are, just because you're thinking, oh, I'm losing weight, I'm dieting. So almost, if you think of it as to shift that mindset to, I want to eat well, like I want to make lasting changes. Think of making long-lasting changes. This is for my health in the long term. Think of it more as, this is what's healthy for me, could give me more energy, versus I just need to cut calories and lose weight. I think that shift in mindset will help in the long term, just help it be sustainable, and then it will be easier not to make those drastic changes that you won't be able to sustain. So just thinking of those small things of, oh, right now I'm going to be intentional about my health, so maybe I'll, just think twice before reaching for that chocolate, or whatever it is that, you just kind of grab for. So how does that sound to you?
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds really good.
Yeah, maybe we can, and that might be easier to kind of revisit that along with the exercise in January, since we are at the holiday season right now. Maybe you can just kind of focus on not putting on more weight, just kind of maintaining right now. Mm-hmm. And then in January, maybe we can look a little bit more on
I've lost that same 7 pounds
Same
so many times.
Yeah.
And if I can just hang on and, like you say, not gain much
Mm-hmm.
more this holiday, then probably in January it'll be easier to go back and try to lose to get down to that 140.
Okay. Yeah, so let's plan on, it sounds like cholesterol might be more of the thing to focus on right now, because we're bringing a lot to the table right now. So maybe focus a little bit more on the goals for cholesterol that we've made, and then we'll revisit the exercise and weight loss, since those go together well too, in January. And then at that meeting, I will calculate out for you more specific stuff with calories, and we can look at the different macronutrients, like your carbohydrates and fat intake, and then your exercise all together, and we can come up with a good weight loss plan.
Okay.
So yeah, let's revisit that. And then the last thing, I want to make sure I address any concerns with that blood sugar. So I know they probably talked about this when you had gestational diabetes, of like a consistent carbohydrate diet. So that's where you want to eat about the same servings of carbohydrates throughout the day. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then maybe a snack or two in between. And then if we keep that consistent level of carbohydrates coming in, that'll keep your blood sugar from spiking and falling.
Oh, okay.
So you've heard similar things to that before?
Yeah.
Okay. So definitely and I feel like when we went through kind of what you typically eat, it looked pretty steady to me, because you're having in the morning that cereal, and even that milk has some carbohydrates in it, and 15 grams of carbohydrates is a serving. So that looked pretty good. And then at lunch, even if you had a salad, you also had some fruit and some dressing, which both would have some carbohydrates in them. How often do you feel it? And then if you do, like what times during the day would you feel kind of that shaky feeling?
Well, on a typical day, I eat my meals on time, and then maybe around 3:30 in the afternoon, just between that lunch and dinner. And then I go grab a Greek yogurt or a bowl of fruit or a handful of nuts, or sometimes a cheese stick.
Okay.
Or something, and usually then that'll get me to dinner.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Usually that's a common thing to have, kind of that dip in the afternoon, because that's really your biggest gap between meals, is between that lunch and dinner. So I think if you plan on regularly having a snack, like you mentioned, around that time, that will be good. Having those nuts too, that healthy fat will help to keep your blood sugar steady too.
Okay.
But especially if you have that fruit and yogurt, putting those nuts in there with it, that fat will help to slow down that sugar spike that you get from those carbohydrates. But yeah, that sounds good if you generally have that snack in the afternoon. And then dinner, you have some rice and some vegetables, which are carbs. So it looks like you do pretty well with those consistent carbohydrates. It just sounds like if you miss a meal or if you're late, that's when you...
Yeah, if something out of the ordinary happens, and then... so I kind of don't think about it every day until something out of the ordinary happens and I miss a meal, and then I start feeling bad.
Okay. And
then it's like, oh yeah, I can't do that. I have to eat.
Yeah, well that might be something, it sounds like something that you will have, and so just being, and you're aware of it. So maybe even just carrying around in your purse if you're out and about, like a granola bar, or just having something there that you can grab if you need it. But it doesn't sound terribly dangerous, or you're not like passing out or anything.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so, okay, well I think that's pretty good. Do you have any other questions or concerns to address in this meeting?
I don't think so.
Okay.
What is that?
Oh, that's fish. That's like
salmon. Okay.
Yes, sometimes with pictures are a little confusing.
Okay, that's salmon, oil, avocado, I guess that's a nut, olives.
Yeah.
Okay. I started looking at that thinking, surely that's not bacon.
No, that's not bacon. Yeah, no, that's that salmon, so.
Okay.
Okay, well, we can schedule our next meeting after this, maybe about, would you want our next meeting to be like January?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yep.
Alright, and then I can just check in with you. Maybe I'll text you or email you something to check in and see how we're doing with these goals sometime between now and then.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, well thank you for coming today. I enjoyed our meeting.
Okay, I did too. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.